Today I will show you how to sew realistic hands for your Waldorf doll. Most Waldorf doll patterns look like this one. That means you have a thumb and then you have a hole, so like a suggested hand. And that really is great for small children, but older children in particular always find it great when their dolls are as realistic as possible, and so do I personally. And that's why I developed a hand pattern with fingers. And you can download and print it for free if you follow the link below this video. It fits for a doll about 18 inches or 45 centimeters. If your doll is of a different size, then you can just print it out a little smaller or bigger, let's say at 90% for a 16-inch doll, for example. As you can see, the hand is a bit longer than the previous hand indicated. If it was this short, the hand would actually look funny, and that's why the fingers are longer. And now I just draw this over my old pattern. I screwed up a bit. I hope you can do it better. But I cut that out now, and it's very important. I don't know if you can see it well on the video, but there really need to be small gaps between the fingers because we have to sew crosswise here so that we can cut down very far here later on. If we don't cut down far enough, we can turn the fingers out properly afterwards, and then our hand will look like a paw, and we don't want that, of course. So now I've adjusted my pattern, and next I'll just draw it on my doll jersey. I'm using Leib Yala jersey from Switzerland here, namely the solid quality that is used for the body, not the stretchable one for the head. This is what most doll makers in Europe use as far as I know. If you use a different brand, you might have to adjust the pattern a bit. You just have to try it out then. Okay, now I draw my pattern here with my trick marker. That's a self-erasing marker for fabrics. This is the pattern for my doll Peony, by the way. There are instructions and patterns for this doll to buy in my online shop if you're interested. This is an 18-inch doll with a needle sculpted face. Okay, now I have a right hand. That means I still need a left hand. It's very important to turn the pattern over so that you don't have two right hands in the end. Next, I'm going to sew this. And when you sew the part in between the fingers, it's very important that you set the stitch length of your sewing machine to about 1.5 millimeters or 0.06 inches. Also, I recommend to sew these gaps twice because we are cutting very far down here, and since the seam allowance will be almost zero, it's very important that the seams are super tear resistant and strong in order to provide the jersey from unraveling and creating holes here. Okay, now I've sewn it up, and I hope you can see it. I double stitched this part here. I'll turn it around, maybe you can see it better from this side. This is how it looks now. And now I'm cutting this out, and while doing this, I'm leaving a seam allowance of about 0.2 inches. But in the gaps, it of course has to be less. And if you come to the gaps, be super careful, but still cut as far down as possible, because only then you can turn the fingers out in the end. Now I cut away the rest of the seam allowance a bit around here, like this, and on the second side I do the same. Okay, next we have to turn the whole thing inside out, and that's a pretty fiddly thing to do. I always use a chopstick because it's quite pointy at the end, but not as pointy as a pencil, for example, which would pierce through the fabric and ruin it. Okay, now I've turned this inside out, and that took a really long time, at least half an hour. It's really super fiddly, so don't get discouraged. At some point you'll get there. If your fingers get stuck, you can also try to pull them out with a needle like this. Of course, you need to be super careful so that you don't damage the fabric, but it helps sometimes. Other than that, I don't have a trick to make it go faster. If anyone has, so please write to me or leave a comment. I would be very happy about that. Okay, next we will start stuffing. You need your wool for this, and I stuff this with a chopstick. It's important that we stuff the fingers only one by one before we start stuffing the hand and the arm, because afterwards you won't be able to get them firm. So we start by putting very small wool flocks into the fingers and push them as deeply down as possible so that each finger becomes nice and firm. And if you have stuffed each finger really nice and firmly, then you can start stuffing wool into your hands. And anyone who has ever taken a class with me knows that the most important thing when stuffing a doll is that you do it really, really firmly. So this way the doll will become durable and also washable, and it doesn't lose its shape even after many years. And as we are filling up the hand, we can try to shape it a bit. That means I'm trying to make the surface of the hand curve up a bit and the palm of the hand a bit more flat, just so it becomes a natural shape. And make sure that the spaces between the finger and the hand, the base of the fingers, so to speak, are also well filled and don't remain empty, because otherwise the hand will look like an inflated glove later on. So you always have to push a bit of wool into that space between fingers and hand while stuffing the hands. And also at the bottom of the thumb, you need to put an extra ball of wool to form the base of the thumb and make it come out, round up a bit. Okay, and when the hand is full and you start stuffing the arm, then as always stuff on one point. So don't push the wool to the left and the right, but only in the middle and push it down nice and deep. Otherwise you might get bumps and dimples. And we don't want that, of course. Alright, and this is what it looks like in the end. If you want now, you have the option of joining the fingers together. For example, you can sew together the middle fingers or these two, but I just leave it this way because it offers the most freedom of play. Yeah, if you liked the video, please leave me a like or subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you for the next tutorial.